Hello everybody, my name is Jude, and today we're going to be looking at the least used Battle Pass skin from every single season, from Chapter 5 Season 2 all the way back to Chapter 1 Season 1. The way we're going to be doing this again is by using Fortnite.gg replay file statistics and looking at the numbers and seeing who obviously had the least amount of uses during Chapter 5 Season 2. That way we know who exactly is being ran the least out of all the Battle Pass skins. So once again, like last time, we will have to acknowledge that there is going to be a large increase in numbers towards the recent battle passes because they are more recent and going to be used a little bit more than the older battle passes. This is obviously going to affect Chapter 5 Season 2 the most as it is the newest season, and you will see why it affects Chapter 5 Season 2 the most later in this video. So without further ado, let's start with Chapter 5 Season 2. The least used Battle Pass skin from Chapter 5 Season 2 is Hades, and this is kind of unfair to Hades because the season is not over and he is the hardest one to obtain, so he is going to have the fewest amount of users at this time. I do believe in the future he will not be the least amount used, but as of the time of recording this video, he is according to our statistics from Fortnite.gg's replay files. Next up is Chapter 5 Season 1, and the Oscar skin has the least amount of uses with a grand total of only 1.7 thousand, which is not a lot of uses, obviously. Which kinda is disappointing because Oscar does have some decent edit styles, but I do understand it. Not everybody wants to run a ginormous skin like Oscar. Next up is OG Fortnite, and Little Split has the least amount of average users with 964. This is actually kind of surprising to me. I don't know why, but I always thought that he'd been used a lot more considering he is a mashup of Little Whip and Peely, which are very, very popular skins. Who knows though, maybe people are getting bored of Peely, and I guess the numbers here do show that. Next up is Chapter 4 Season 4, and the skin with the least amount of uses is our collaboration skin, Ahsoka. And honestly, this is not very surprising. I think the skin itself is kind of mid, but I don't really care for Star Wars that much in the first place, so that might just be me, don't blame me. I did really like the wrap that was in her set though, so I will give her that. Next up is Chapter 4 Season 3, and the Tier 100 collaboration skin, Optimus Prime, is the least used with only 515 people using him. This is kind of surprising to me, but now that I'm actually looking at the Battle Pass, I do think it is the weakest skin that we had there. But in the end of the day, it's still a collaboration skin and a Tier 100, so you would think the numbers would be a little bit higher. Next up is Chapter 4 Season 2, and the Mystica skin comes in with 645 uses. This one's actually really disappointing because I actually really like the skin. Now, Mystica does have 3 edit styles. It did not get any super styles, and the set itself is pretty galaxy themed. So another reason that's kind of surprising because galaxy skins usually do really well in Fortnite. Next up is Chapter 4 Season 1, and the Nezumi skin comes in with 420 uses. I agree with this one. I think this skin kinda sucked. In all fairness, I don't know, it just didn't really feel unique or anything. I did like the set, and I did like how heavily focused it was on eyes. I think eyes were a really nice touch to the skin. I did like how it was when it was reactive, but the skin itself was kind of mid. Compared to the rest of the Battle Pass, I do believe every other skin is better than Izumi. Chapter 3 Season 4 kicks off Chapter 3, and the Herold has the least amount of uses so far on this entire list, with only 120 users. The Herold was the secret skin of this season, and I do actually kind of like this skin, but I 100% see why the casual players aren't running it that much, because it is a very, very bright skin. It's got a lot of pink and has a lot of glowy purples on it as well. It does have another edit style, which is like fiery red, yellow, orange colors, which I do see a little bit more than the original Herold style. All in all, I do think this skin is good, but it is not surprising that it is the lowest on the list. Next up is Chapter 3 Season 3, and Malik is the least used skin with only 288 users. So, Malik here, he is not my favorite skin by any means. I actually never use this one unless I get it on random, but I do kind of see what they were trying to go for here. They were trying to make a knight, and it kind of looks like a knight, but whenever you compare it to the knights we have in Fortnite already, it looks nothing like that. His placement is not very surprising to me at all, but what is surprising is in Chapter 3, Season 2, Doctor Strange is the least used skin with only 155 users. This is the Tier 100 skin and a collab for a very popular Marvel character, so it is very surprising to see him this low. Lieutenant John Llama's least used skin of Chapter 3 Season 1 with only 372 users. Not really surprising again, people don't like bulky skins, so I can see why the numbers on this guy are so low. What's even lower is in Chapter 2 Season 8 we have the Cube Queen who is only used by 125 users. This was the secret skin of the season and a very important character to the story and is the main villain of the live event we got during the season. It has 3 edit styles and its set is very unique. It is the first ever skin to introduce the gliders that you walk down like stairs, which was very unique for the time, and it's still pretty unique today. We only have 2 of them like this. Chapter 2 Season 7's up next, and Zig comes in with 347 users. Once again, this skin is a pretty bulky skin, so I don't see a lot of people using it unless they just really do like robots. One little fun fact about Zig is that his pickaxe is the only one in the entire game to actually have super level styles. Spire Assassin's least used skin of Chapter 2 Season 6 was only 229 users. I kind of agree with the rating here. I mean, the skin is not great. It is one of the worst tier 100s we have, and it doesn't really offer anything. I actually think that the item shop counterpart, the Spire Immortal, is way better of a skin and was way more deserving of tier 100. Chapter 2 Season 5 is up next, and the Maeve skin has the least amount of users with 244 of them. This skin is also pretty weak. It does have a lot of different reactive abilities, but when the skin itself is kind of bad, it doesn't really save it. The only unique thing that she has going for her besides her reactive abilities is the glider, but she's the only one who can even use the glider, so. Wolverine's up next with Chapter 2 Season 4, and he only has 266 users. This is kind of surprising, but then again, all the skins in the season were Marvel, so it was going to be a collab skin regardless. Wolverine was probably my least favorite from this battle pass. I mean, you did have great skins like Mystique and Tony Stark, and I just do believe Wolverine offered the least amount out of any of the skins here. Aquaman is actually the least used skin of Chapter 2, Season 3, and I do agree, he is the worst skin in this battle pass. I never really have cared for Aquaman, but the skin itself offers, like, nothing. The pickaxe is cool, but we have tridents in the game beside his, so if you didn't get it, you didn't really miss out on much. Agent Peely is the least used skin of Chapter 2, Season 2, which again is not very surprising. It is definitely the weakest skin in that battle pass. You have great skins like Deadpool, Maya, Midas, Sky, Meowscles, Tiantina, Brutus. They're actually all amazing in that pass, except for Peely. It is a very weak skin. The most interesting thing Peely actually does have going for it is the rarity of its fully gold edit style, and once again, if Peely is the least used skin, imagine how many people are actually using that fully gold style. It's gotta be like 2 of them, right? Another very unsurprising result from Chapter 2 Season 1 is the Turk versus Riptide skin being the lowest with only 292 users. This skin is definitely the weakest in the past. You have 8 Ball, Ripley, and Remedy, which are way better, as well as Fusion, who's pretty good for a tier 100, I think. The Riptide style of Turk doesn't really add much. I think it does make him more aggressive, but I still think the Fisherman outfit is not great for a tier 1, and I just don't see a lot of people using it. So we're starting the chapter 1 section of the video, and I want you to try and guess who is going to be the least used skin from every battle pass as we go forward. First up is Season X, and the Scientist is the least used skin with only 58 users, the least amount of any skin so far on this list. The Scientist is huge, so if you didn't like bulky skins like Lieutenant John Llama, you are not going to like the Scientist at all because it is 10 times bigger. Fun fact, the Scientist actually did have a secret edit style that you got if you collected all the tapes and then went into Dusty Depots a days before the Season X live event. Vendetta's the least used skin of Chapter 1 Season 9 with only 213 users. Vendetta has a ton of edit styles, but that does not save him from being the last on the list for Season 9, because I honestly think the first edit style brings him down so much, and it is just not an attractive skin to wear. Chapter 1 Season 8's next, and the secret skin Ruin is only used 234 times. This skin is okay, it's not my favorite. I think the Prisoner, which we got 1 season before, is a lot better for a fire monster. Speaking of the Prisoner is actually the least used skin of Chapter 1 Season 7 with only 158 users. Collecting the Prisoner's edit styles was actually pretty hard, and I do believe that is part of the reason the skin is so low, because the original style is not great, and I think it is the best when it has the last edit style, but that skin was pretty hard to obtain. Nightshade is the skin that is used the least from Chapter 1, Season 6, and this is not surprising at all. This skin is terrible in my opinion. It is a female tomato head, and it looks horrible. Enough shade towards Nightshade. The next skin on the list is Huntress from Season 5 of Chapter 1 with only 311 users. This is another skin that doesn't really have a lot going for it, and I can definitely see why this skin isn't very appealing to players. The set is pretty weak as well. The back bling is just another shield. The glider is unique, but it is not going to save it from being last on the list. Chapter 1 Season 4 has the first ever secret skin in the last place spot, being the Visitor with only 120 users. This is a little surprising considering it was the very first secret skin and there was a lot of hype around it, but the skin was actually kind of hated at first because of how crappy it did look for all the work you had to do to get it. What is not surprising, however, is that Chapter 1 Season 3's least used skin is Mission Specialist. Mission Specialist is definitely the weakest skin in the Battle Pass. It was the Tier 1 skin of the season, and it just doesn't really offer anything that you can't get from Dark Voyager or the Moonwalker skin. The least used skin from Chapter 1, Season 2 is the Blue Squire, which isn't very surprising. It is the Tier 1, and it definitely offers the least out of any of the skins here. It is the male counterpart to the Royal Knight, which is the most used skin from Chapter 1, Season 2. Chapter 1, Season 1 didn't have a battle pass, but if we do count it, Aerial Assault Trooper is the least used skin from that season shop. It is used 420 times less than Renegade Raider. I think Aerial Assault Trooper is a pretty decent skin. I'm very surprised it hasn't gotten any reskins yet because of how popular it is, just because it is an OG skin. Renegade Raider. Oh my god, I'm leaving that in the video. Renegade Raider did have a little bit more to offer because it did have a pickaxe that you could buy separately, where Aerial Assault Trooper only had a glider, and the glider was a lot more boring than Renegade Raider's pickaxe. Also, Aerial Assault Trooper never got an additional edit style like Renegade Raider did later in Season 8 of Chapter 1. And that's all for the video, guys. Thank you so much for watching and leaving all the support you did on the last video. It means the world to me. I did try raising the audio for the people that said it was too quiet, so I need you guys to tell me how it sounds and if this is good or if I need to raise it more or lower it back down a little bit. Just keep me notified of what you guys think I need to change to support my content and just make it better. Anyways, guys, I'm out. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.